Dear students, in this lesson, we are going to have a brief idea about lungs, its position, as well as how it functions in our body. Let's start. The main respiratory organ of humans is a pair of lungs. These lungs are protected by a basket-like skeletal structure that forms the chest area of the human body known as the rib cage. Before we discuss about the lungs in detail, let's quickly get an idea about what the rib cage is. This rib cage consists of long paired curved bones that are joined at the back with the backbone and joined at the front with the sternum or the breastbone. There are 12 pairs of ribs, out of which the first 7 pairs of ribs are directly attached to the sternum, and therefore they are known as true ribs. Of the remaining 5 ribs considered as the false, the 8th, 9th and the 10th rib, they are not directly attached to the sternum, but they are connected by the 7th rib to the sternum, known as the false ribs. And the 11th and the 12th rib, which are only attached to the backbone and they do not reach to the sternum, are known as the floating ribs. And yes, most importantly, it is due to the costal cartilage that prevents the ribs from collapsing, and also this costal cartilage facilitates in expanding the ribs during deep breathing. This rib cage not only protects the lungs but also protects the heart from any kind of external injury. I have already mentioned before that the pair of lungs that are present in the human body are the chief respiratory organs. These lungs are situated on both sides of the heart above the diaphragm in the chest cavity. The lungs are pyramidal in shape and they are surrounded by a transparent double-layered membrane called pleura. If we observe carefully, we will find that the left lung is comparatively smaller than the right lung. Do you know why it is? Yes, it is to accommodate the space for the heart. And that is why the left lung is divided into 2 and the right lung into 3 lobes. Not only that, the left lung has got a depression which is known as the cardiac notch. Each lobe of the lungs is divided into lobules which are made up of alveoli that contains air. Now, what does a lung do during inspiration and expiration? During inspiration, the chest expands, the thoracic cavity increases, due to which the external intercostal muscles, that is the muscles present between our ribs, contract. As a result, the ribs are pulled upward and outward. The muscles of the diaphragm contract, which lowers the diaphragm, because of which the lungs expand and the air pressure inside the lungs decreases, and because of which air enters from the atmosphere into the lungs. Just the reverse thing happens during expiration. The chest contracts, so the thoracic cavity decreases and the internal intercostal muscles contract, and there is a relaxation of external intercostal muscles. So the ribs are pulled back to their normal position and the muscles of the diaphragm also relaxes and come to its original dome shape. As a result, the surface area of the lungs decreases and so the air pressure inside the lungs increases, and thus the air expels out from the lungs into the atmosphere. Now that the lungs not only help in breathing but also helps in talking. During exhalation, the air comes through the trachea and lungs and reaches the vocal cords which are present on either side of the larynx. Now, if the vocal cords are closed and the air flows between them, these vocal cords will vibrate and thus a sound is produced. Now let's discuss some lung diseases that might occur if the lungs are not properly taken care of. One of the most common diseases in lungs that occurs due to excessive smoking is emphysema. Here, the air sacs in the lungs become damaged and stretched. As a result, there is chronic cough and also difficulty in breathing occurs. Again, bronchitis may occur when there is inflammation of lining of the bronchial tubes that carry air to our lungs, and this results in coughing along with the mucus. Another common lung disease that occurs is the pulmonary fibrosis, when the lung tissue gets damaged and the lungs cannot work properly. Pulmonary tuberculosis can be observed when bacterial infection occurs in the lungs. As a result of this, there is chest pain, breathlessness, as well as severe coughing. The bacteria that causes pulmonary tuberculosis is Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Asbestosis is another lung disease that occurs due to inhalation of asbestos particles, and this might also result in cancer of pleura. Another commonest infections that occur nowadays is pneumonia. This occurs due to infection that causes inflammation in either one or both lungs. Some people may also have asthma, a breathing disorder which occurs due to narrowing of small airways, that is the bronchi. This results into the shortness of breath, tightness in the chest, and also feeling of suffocation is observed. Now, to keep our lungs away from these lung diseases, plenty of exercises like deep breathing are to be done on a regular basis. Also, we need to avoid smoking habit and stay away from any kind of harmful chemicals. This will not only keep our muscles around our lungs to function properly, but also make them stronger and healthier. So this was all about lungs and their roles in our human body. Stay tuned to get more interesting videos. Thank you.